저에게 이제 6번째 스프링이 왔는데 제가 다른 팀에 오게 돼서 다른 감독 코치님과 하게 되는 게 처음인데 이번 연도는 그냥 즐겁게 하고 싶어요.
작년에 이어 또 팀에 남아 드래곤 X 유니폼을 입고 또 다시 도전하게 되었습니다. 올해는 어떠한 방법으로든 무조건 잘해서 성적을 내는 게 제일 중요한 것 같아요.
1년 내내 좀 하면서 좀 많이 부족한 거나 그런 거 많이 느꼈던 것 같아요. 그래서 저도 일단 준비를 잘 해서 좋은 모습 보여줘야 될 것 같아요.
작년에 제가 잘했는데 마무리가 항상 아쉬웠어서 처음부터 많이 준비해야 될 것 같습니다. 다시 한번 정상에 한번 써보겠습니다.
시작이 좀 더 중요하다고 생각하고 있기 때문에 좀 더 진지한 각오로 임하는 게 클 것 같아요.
경기를 다시 뛸 수 있어서 좀 설레긴 하죠. 저희 팀을 응원해 주시면서 뿌듯함을 느낄 수 있도록 최대한 노력해 보도록 하겠습니다.
이번 기회가 아니면 다시 돌아올 수가 없을 것 같아서 제가 앞으로 뭐 몇 년을 더 하든 간에 마무리는 LCK에서 했으면 좋겠다는 생각으로 돌아왔어요.
돌아와서 집 같은 느낌이 들고 뭔가 조금 설레요. 다시 돌아온 만큼 새로 시작하는 마음으로 열심히 불꽃을 불살라 보겠습니다.
2020년 최고의 탑은 제가 되지 않을까 그렇게 생각하고 있어요. 스프링 시즌 때도 제가 그 영광 계속 누리도록 하겠습니다.
작년에 많이 우승했었는데 이제 다시 새로운 한 해의 시작이다 보니까 저는 이제 또 새로운 스타트 라인에 섰다고 생각하고 올해도 열심히 하겠습니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. We're up to our second match of the night, and it's starting an hour late because Damwon versus T1 was extraordinarily long, grueling, and T1 were able to come out on top. Now, it's time for KT versus Gen.G, and as far as orgs go, this is a huge matchup. If it was 2018, it would be gigantic, but it's not. It's 2020, and both of these teams have changed a lot. For some reason, we can't hear you, I don't think. Wait. We're bringing him back.
Hold on.
Yeah? I think it should be working.
Am I on? I don't hear
Yeah.
myself.
No, I can hear you.
You
I
can
got
hear
you.
me?
Yeah,
I can't hear me.
Oh, no. You need to turn yourself up then. On the
I,
machine. It's the other dial, maybe. Oh, no, it's not.
No, that's...
Yeah, that's not. It's just fine.
Okay.
We're just going to have to
We're
go
good.
with it. Just slight.
Fine.
You know, we got to get out a few of the technical issues
It's fine.
in the first day. You know, that's how
Day
things go. But thankfully, it doesn't mean pauses in games. And now that I've jinxed it, I apologize for the 45-minute pause that's going to ensue.
T1 versus Damwon was a very long series.
Oh, yes.
Very drawn out. I don't know what to expect for Gen.G versus KT, but I would actually expect more craziness out of meta champion picks as well as just diversification inside of...
I don't know what to expect because, as you can see, KT is no longer KT. It's a weird amalgamation of what used to be a Freak of Freaks and Hanwha Life. That's what I'm looking at it as. Soan and Bono, of course, moving over from Hanwha Life, and Kuro, Aiming, and Tucson at one point in their career were all together on a Freak of Freaks. So Tucson taking some time over with Kingzone, standing beside Death for a year. That was fun to watch, but is now back with Aiming towards that bottom side. And Kuro is back from his little stint over in the LPL and is now back on home soil, as you heard from him in our beginning intro section, saying that he now feels like he's back at home and those butterflies in his tummy are a-fluttering, which was very adorable.
Well, taking a look at some of the match points, Gen to reconstruct their reputation. The Fellowship of the Ring is setting off their journey to recap Past Glory has begun.
Always okay with Lord of the Rings references.
I am as well as Team Hirai's veteran club KT. Kuro is back in LCK and reunited with Aiming and the Tushin duo down there in the bot lane. New Gen.G, Key Trio, BDD, Rascal, Clid, can they find a miracle? As well as the last one, flexing on the LCK with age. KT, the highest average age, 24.
They ain't going to be getting young player of the split.
The old...
That is old meta plays that they're enforcing there. It's just not how that's
It
supposed to go.
sounds like ageism.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you know what?
Because it's normally supposed to be rookie of the split, right? But now it's like we have to have, 19 or younger Korean age. So, I don't know, cultural differences, maybe a slight change up there. We are going to go to our key matchup in this game, though, as it is going to be Kuro versus BDD. BDD not exactly having the greatest of performances on KT last year, but now looking to try and turn things around against an old rival. I believe it was Kuro and BDD battling for MVP in 2017. Towards the end of that year, of course, when BDD was on Kingzone and Kuro was the MVP Lord of Afrika. Not entirely sure. I think Tucson was also up there that year as well, but it has been a few since 2017. But as you can see, their matchup against one another is an interesting one. 14-17 is still pretty close for these two veterans of the mid lane. This is going to be our matchup. KT will start off on the blue side to begin things, and if you're watching Kesper Cup, you're probably looking at Gen.G as the favorites for this series, and no one would hold that against you. But KT Rolster still have some stuff to do, and let's have a look at some of these trash talk.
가장 경계되는 팀은 젠지인 것 같아요. 기분 좋네요.
저희가 반전정대라는 얘기를 많이 들었는데
반지의제가 그걸 안 봤기 때문에 처음에 그 무슨 뜻인지 몰랐단 말이에요.
그 뜻이 약간 센 사람들이 모여서 반지를 파괴하러 간다는 얘기가 많았는데
그런 거 별명도 붙였으니까 더 열심히 잘해야 될 것 같아요.
안녕하세요. 20년도에 KT 롤스터 미드로 돌아온 쿠로 이성입니다. 한국 팬분들, 한국 문화, 한국 대회 이런 게 다 그립더라고요. 좀 향수?
이번에 코로 선수가 KT에 들어오게 됐는데 또 LPL을 갔다 와가지고 어떤 스타일로 바뀌었을지 되게 궁금해요.
그 실력은 좀 봤어요. LPL에서의 활약상?
안 보긴 했어요. 잘하는 팀 FPX나 IG만 봤거든요.
팩트니까요.
모르겠어요. BDD는 워낙 이제 LCK에서도 잘한다고 이제 소문이 나 있어서 중국산 미드가 얼마나 잘해줄지.
맘 같아서는 저희 보성이가 박살냈으면 좋겠습니다.
솔킬을 안 따도 되니까 잘해서 이겨보자.
잘하겠습니다. 파이팅.
저도 약간 경력이 많이 찬 것 같아서 짬의 무서움을 보여드렸습니다.
하람이가 조금 룰러 선수를 좀 경계하는 게 있더라고요.
룰러 선수는 뭐 말할 거 없죠. 사실 뭐 LCK 손꼽히는 원딜 중 하나니까. 네.
이번에 룰러 선수가 막 솔로 랭크 1등도 찍고 그때도 나갈 만큼 워낙 잘하기 때문에 경계해야 될 것 같아요.
딱히 별 생각은 안 해봤어요. 그냥 초사이어인 별로.
재혁이 형 정말 잘하고 있는데 내가 추월할 생각이야.
머리 파랗게 염색했다 들었는데 다 뽑아드리겠습니다.
투신 선수가 제일 경계되는 것 같아요. 팀이 불리해도 어떤 타이밍에 어떻게 치고 나가야 하는지를 잘 아는 형이어서
종익이 형 끼면은 누구든 이기지 않을까 싶어요.
근데 저희 바텀이 더 잘한다고 생각은 합니다.
아니 잘해지긴 했는데 아직 좀 부족해서. 아마 서포트 하면 더 들어온 것 같로 보니까 번갈아 가면서 쓸 의향이 있던 것 같은데 그 사이를 딱 치고 들어가는 1승.
약간 어이가 없네요. 저희도 열심히 준비해올 테니까 꼭 이기는 모습 보여드리도록 노력하겠습니다.
제가 이제 한국으로 복귀를 할 때 마지막 불꽃처럼 좀 열심히 해서 불살라 보겠다라고 했었는데 기대해 주셔도 좋을 것 같아요.
젠지의 새로운 일원으로서 합류하게 된 만큼 새로운 목표도 생겼고 좋은 모습 보여드리고 싶어요.
모두가 젠지가 이길 거라고 생각을 할 것 같은데 상식 밖의 플레이로 한번 이겨보도록 하겠습니다.
저희 개막전 첫 상대가 제 친정팀인 KT이기도 하고 저랑 같이 지냈던 사람들이 거기로 꽤 많이 가게 되었는데 다 눈물 흘리게 해주고 싶어요. 무조건 이길 겁니다. 네.
Welcome back. And that was the trash talk. It was nice hearing that Tucson is given the respect that he deserves. Cool hearing a little bit from backstage as well about his knowledge of Rascal, and Rascal telling us that Tucson just always knows when to fight back. Maybe a reason why Dragon X did look good towards the end of summer last year. But these are your two rosters about to make their way out onto LoL Park for the first time in the 2020 spring season. KT a lot to prove after a disappointing Kesper Cup, and Gen.G a lot to prove after all of the hype that was given to this team in the off-season. Felt like they had won. They did do the second most winning at Kesper Cup, but ultimately weren't able to topple the monsters in T1's side. And that was in the first round of the knockout stage as well. So not making it too far. KT, of course, not making it to the knockout stage of Kesper Cup at all. And the comment about Ruler tearing out all of Aiming's hair. Thoughts? Musings?
No thoughts.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, it was okay. You know.
Strange.
Well.
Anyway, there it is. That's
Yeah.
the blue hair. Thankfully, it's still there. So since the filming of that Trash Talk video, Ruler hasn't got his hands on Aiming. But we are starting with our Afrika and Hanwha roster of the KT variety. Soan and Bono will be taking to the stage over Malrang and Ray. And over on Gen.G's side, this is the squad that we've come to expect. Life not playing as many games as Kellen did in the Kesper Cup as well, and it looks like Kellen has retained his mainstay position. Well, I find it interesting because Life was playing very well.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how this bot lane duo ends up faring, and what type of synergy they're going to actually have with one another. Although, the way the bot lane meta is right now, you don't really get a lot of action. It's usually tank supports and Senna MF or Aphelios sort of hugging each other.
Yep.
And then eventually we get to the mid game. So, Atlas, question I have for you is, are you ready for a 3-hour series?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I know.
Get me in there for as long as possible. That's what I want. That is what I want. As here we are into Champions League for Game 1. KT taking as much time as possible to ban away their first champion. And I think that we'll see the bans drastically change. From our first series, felt like a lot of targeted bans coming in there, and already some new ones, some new faces. Aurelia taken away from BDD mostly, but certainly a flex between him and Rascal. And there is the Gragas ban. I'd actually, if there's a Gragas ban against Gen.G, assume that it's Life. Not going to be the case this time around. That one is against Cliff.
The Olaf ban, mostly targeted, obviously, at the champion pool, specifically of the enemy jungler, not of any sort of meta team compositions in particular, as Set is actually going to bite the dust here.
Yeah, not going to be seeing the light of day. Akali taken away on the blue side, and Elise is going to be the final ban. KT can take something like the Aphelios if they would like to here, or maybe something that doesn't show their hand as much. Lee Sin is standing out, I guess, although I know it's a bit of a sinner pick, but this is Clid that we're talking about. Bono might want to take that one away. Of course, Bono, a notable Lee Sin player alongside his very famous Olaf. But it's going to be the Ornn locked in. Yeah, already we're seeing multiple facets in the KT possible gameplay direction.
Well, we're having a B1 Ornn. Gen.G should probably respond to R1, R2, 80 carry plus jungle.
What is the jungle of choice, though, here for Gen.G?
80 carry top laner is also fine.
Or solo lane flex in the Mordekaiser.
Coming in specifically as an attempted answer to the Ornn, but Ornn eventually takes over in mid-game, and Ornn is also favored in laning phase if the Ornn plays it better than the Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser could, of course, be mid lane, as could the Ornn. Both Kuro and BDD do like to flex with each respective champion. So Aphelios is going to be locked in. Once again, I'm going to get very confused about all the different guns. Keep those DMs coming in, by the way, guys, trying to explain to me the fact that I've messed up with one of the guns or other, because I do need all the help that I can get. I think it's largely to do with not being able to notice the icons quickly enough.
It's
I'll
actually
put that to work.
really interesting that Korea just doesn't seem to care about Senna.
Yeah, and
At
also
all.
this is Gen.G, the Senna playing team, but opting in for Misfortune instead.
And so Lisa now going to be locked in last here as KT is definitely starting out very strong so far here in the draft. Aiming is actually crying at how beautiful the initial start is. He just can't control himself when he sees a B1 Ornn. Don't worry. Me either.
Yeah.
I know. I know what it's like.
With blue hair comes a more emotional
Wait,
response
I
to things, I think.
I think he's actually crying. Wait, what's wrong?
No, I don't think so.
No, it looks
Might
like
have
his
something
eyes
in
are
his
welling
eye.
up again.
Yeah, I think it might have to do with the makeup. Because you know how, we're not super used to makeup in the gaming world and
Okay.
stuff like that. So maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
Happens to me sometimes. Not very good at when stuff goes close to my eyes. So sometimes it happens to me too. Even now, after a few years practice. But, aiming has been there a long time as well. But sometimes you have a different experience. Blitz is going to be the ban here over on Gen.G's side to follow up from the Nautilus. Thresh should be taken away now to get rid of all possible hooks, but it's probably not going to be the case, but it does certainly look like the support pool is being pinched. Leona sort of stands out to me as 2 seconds to go. KT will have to make up their mind. And it is LeBlanc to be hitting the bench. More of a BDD ban rather than a ban of a specific strategy or something like that. And that is the Thresh that I was talking about, locked in for Gen.G.
So now they're going to reserve flexing the Mordekaiser to either mid or top, and they'll get their counter pick of choice.
Yeah, Leona is looking to be the answer here.
Yeah, this is the handshakes that we talk about. Mage supports are forbidden.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
They are, people...
Oh, God. Okay. There it is. There's the first Timothy Kenshin's pickup. The LCK didn't take very long, but we weren't expecting it to either. Stay.
Thinking about it, Atlas. I'm thinking...
I know.
I'm thinking
It
about
reads your
greener
mind.
pastures.
Mm-hmm.
Which
region are we heading to?
What?
Who hasn't been picking Tom Kench? Let me just check in for you. He's the most picked in NA, so I don't think you're going there. And he is last most picked in LEC, so welcome to Europe, LS.
Thank you.
As the Aatrox.
You know what? I'm actually...
Oh, God.
This is...
Come on, KT, please.
It's really sealing in the flavor. You know what? I'm gonna give you Ender Weird Champ casts. We're just gonna make a swapperoo.
Oh, God.
Okay.
No.
I'm actually DMing him right now.
I wasn't talking about no Ender. I quite like Ender.
Nah,
but I'm
we're
just
gonna
still
clip it out of
talking about the
context.
KT draft.
Don't worry about it. We're
well,
clipping it out of context.
BDD just casually picks last pick Syndra, as you do. And the damage profile on KT's side is AD, and then AD and a bit of AD. I think Aiming's going to be clicking the level up my armor penetration button as often as he possibly can, as you can do on the Aphelios, but I just don't know whether that is going to be enough. I mean, I guess we're looking at a Gen.G squad that's not going to be building a lot of resistances anyway. You don't exactly want to be building Thornmail Mordekaiser, but you could, in theory.
Well, the interesting thing about these two team compositions is there is a lot of scaling in the Ornn team comp, but also it has a dynamic where if it gets ahead, it's able to suffocate and just perma face roll the enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay if it falls behind. It's really good if it gets ahead. But on the flip side, if the enemy team does end up getting ahead, it's going to matter a lot where the gold really is. And then I think that they're going to suffer from similar things like what T1 faced earlier on, where even if they get ahead, it's not likely going to be the cleanest end unless KT are really misplaying.
Yeah, I feel like Gen.G have one of the quintessential LCK compositions that we were talking about a lot actually on the Pog State podcast, which is we can win from almost any situation in the game.
Yeah.
Here we are onto Summoner's Rift. Let's see whether Gen.G can do that. and make up for their name as KT look to try and change around their prospects that they had for themselves during the Kesper Cup. It was disappointing after, winning a couple in the beginning. Still not exactly having the optimal outcome, especially not with a completely brand new roster. Harai and Acorn both coming over as well from Dragon X of 2019. Coaching staff has changed, and every KT player has changed. We said goodbye to Score. He had his retirement party. Is now aiming. He's gonna get. Yeah, it would have got hooked, but the flash does come in. The ward is also cleared away, so Gen.G already with a bottom lane advantage. And we thought that even if there was no flash burnt in the bottom lane, they would already have a bottom lane advantage. And we've got a slight sepia mode settling in. And I have to take full responsibility because I made a joke about a pause, and now there is one. So, yeah, that's my apologies. Not entirely sure what this is for, and hopefully we'll get a bit of a check-in from production as to what has caused the issue.
It always actually perplexes me when stuff like this happens, right? It was less than 30 minutes ago. Or no, I'm sorry. It was about, 45 minutes ago? The T1 players had just up and left those PCs. Everything was fine, and then the Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah, well, these things just sometimes happen. There was the 30-minute window, and obviously the Fire Nation got in there. And what they did was they turned down Tushin's game sounds. So he can't hear the game well enough.
Okay.
So, yep. Hopefully we can get in there and buff up those game sounds as much as we can.
Now, also, by the way, while we have a chance to talk about the really important things, aka the Pog State right now.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a bit of a question. I don't think I've asked you this.
Okay, you can ask me the whole question if you want.
Okay. Let's say that there's an Echo and a Mordekaiser.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Echo's running along, doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then Mordekaiser ults him.
Can he use his ult to get out of it? Is that what you're asking?
He can.
But what does he do?
So, here's the problem.
Okay.
If he gets Death Realmed, and then he Rs and goes back in time, but arrives in the Death Realm, is he dead the whole time? Is Echo just dreaming? Is he comatose?
I didn't know this was going to be a philosophical question. I thought this was going to be a mechanical question.
Well, I'm leaving you in chat now to ponder.
Or does that mean that actually the Death Realm was casted 3 seconds in advance?
And so is Mordekaiser a time traveler?
Does the Death Realm transcend time?
Does death transcend time? Is that an alternate dimension?
Is time even
does
real?
Echo think? Oh man, does Zillion even actually exist?
Because every time you go to talk about the present, LS, you're talking about the past.
So I mean, these are really concerning questions.
It really is.
I'm
having an existential crisis over here.
If you want to talk about 7 layers of hell or something, what happens if when Mordekaiser ults a Sylas, who then ults the Mordekaiser?
What happens?
Where are you going there?
What if Karthus dies whilst in the Death Realm? Is he double dead when he's in his passive?
Ooh, where do you?
And
go
then when
you're
he
double
finally,
dead?
but is he triple dead when he then gets out of his passive?
No, I think he's in a solo queue game.
And also, does Karthus even have a soul to begin with? And is it because he spent too much time in the Death Realm to Death Realm to Death Realm transition, and that's why he's come to be the man that he is today? Look, you can't ask me questions like this when we're in the middle of a broadcast, but thank goodness we're in the middle of a pause, because this could take a long time to figure out, and I hope you guys are ready for the ride. Because I feel like there's even more layers to this that we could get into.
There's absolutely more layers.
I didn't know the Death Realm was... And how does a headband get you out of the Death Realm?
How does it pull you out?
Should theoretically QSS remove you from the Death Chamber as well?
Does QSS have types of mechanisms that we don't understand in our observable universe?
Hey, that's a good point. And I guess in theory, the Death Realm isn't actually where you're dead. You're just brought there sort of you know, without actually, because you can die in the Death Realm, right? And then you
Right.
stay there theoretically. So maybe it's instead like Mordecai's like a Constantine type vibe. So you're not, if you're in the Death Realm, you're not actually dead, but you're like hanging out in hell. Like, oh no, this is
So is Mordekaiser
kinda
even
bad.
real?
Well, isn't he just a suit of armor anyway?
Ooh.
I mean, I guess not with the pentakill skin, but
So
sometimes
he's
that goes off.
a
thing.
giant piece of metal that gets really mad
I
at
think
you and
the
comes for
original, like Mordekaiser's lore has changed like what 15 times or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think his original lore was that he was like a walking suit of armor.
you. All right.
That was like sort of magically being held together or something like that. Which, weirdly enough, actually correlates better to his current ultimate than it did his past ultimate, which is where you basically like you got to kill them and then get yourself a clone and all that
Right.
sort of stuff.
And then
So-
you used to command them. That was called Children of the Grave or
well,
something.
you used to try to command them, and most of the time it didn't work.
Most of the time it would bug
'Cause
out.
It was super bugged, yeah.
And what if it wasn't that he couldn't command them? What if it's like he's Freddy Krueger and they just don't listen?
And maybe it was just
Maybe
he
they're
couldn't
not even
command
dead.
them. Maybe the characters themselves.
Maybe they're a dream.
Oh, no.
Maybe there was actually a translation error
Yeah.
in the origin language of Death Realm translated poorly. Maybe it's Dream Realm. And then...
Maybe the LCK isn't even real.
Oh my god. And is Mordekaiser sleeping with Alex Straza?
And also, if we go back, wow, we've transcended games now as well. This is too much. This is too much. I want to just go back.
And Ysera.
I think it's Ysera's the one you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
Alex Straza isn't the Dream Realm. Ysera is
Why
Dream
not both?
Dragon.
Maybe Ysera doesn't know.
And actually, I think canonically, Ysera's dead right now. Or was she brought back to life after the...
Did she make it out of the Death Realm? I mean, the Dream Realm?
Which realm is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
no.
God.
They need to get Mordekaiser an Emerald League partner program.
And maybe that's now why Tucson can't hear, because he's so confused about all of this realm transitioning that we've been doing that it's got into Tucson's brain, and he's like, "No,
I'm pretty sure
I'm done."
the guy just gave him a QSS though. Did you see?
Did he
had-
QSS the microphone? He's
Yeah,
wrapped
he had
it up.
like rubber gloves on and a mask, and I feel like he
Yeah.
would use that because white glove delivery
Yeah.
for something that can pull you through dimensions.
Yep.
I think that makes sense. And now Tusha, he can hear us. Now he's smiling.
Yeah,
He's
now
like,
he's
yeah.
figured it out. Now he's figured it out. He's
Oh
like,
my
actually, it'd be okay to be in Mordekaiser's dream
And now,
realm,
you're right.
and so we're totally fine.
Oh man, BDD's like, you hear these guys? They're crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he actually had to like. I assume the ref came over and explained to Tucson that he could rush
Right.
QSS.
Now that fan that they have right there, is that in the Death Realm?
I think everything's in the Death Realm
Holy
now.
All right, I didn't know.
That's what's happened. The LCK is in the Death Realm that's in the Death Realm, thanks to Echo.
No, I think
Because
really-
Echo keeps casting his ult and extending the Death Realm back in time. So we are in a perpetual state of Death Realm, actually.
This is really good.
Yeah.
This is really good. So
There are some actually
So
intelligent
is
people,
Echo
by the
in
way,
the
in
Death
chat that are really upset right now. You know? It's like that one philosophy major that's just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everyone knows there are 16 shapes of the Death Realm, and obviously we're not in any of them because it's a video game.
do you think that Mordekaiser has claustrophobia and he wants to try to instill that in others, and that's why
I think he's got agoraphobia because he tries to put everyone in a set location.
Yeah, but it's very small.
Yeah.
You notice that?
It is. So that's why he puts them in the Death Realm, because he
he's-
likes to be in an enclosed space.
Okay.
Yeah, he's agoraphobic.
Okay.
And also, this
Maybe
once
he
again
just wants
goes
to
back
hug.
to the original lore, where he's like a mystical being that's not actually corporeal, hanging out in a suit of armor.
Alexa?
Because like that, yeah, sort of. This is actually Scarlett Johansson from Her. You know, she's been given a body. It was Mordekaiser. That's how he got there. Why doesn't he do more like cool moves and stuff like that? He just like waves his like thing around. If he's Black Widow, surely he'd be a little bit more dexterous. Oh no.
What if he is the Black Widow? Did you just assume?
That's true. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you see?
I mean, the pentakill skin really does ruin this whole situation.
Alexa, play Pentakill. You never thought about, you never thought about that line.
But how does that have to do with Black Widow?
No. Where's Siri?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Let's ask Siri. Can you ask Siri about the state of Death Realm that we're in at the moment? Because I think the longer this pause goes on, the closer we're getting to that. Oh, no.
Okay. This is great.
Tucson does have his headset back on. Maybe because headset issues in the LCK generally infect each other. You know, it's like the first headset to have the problem is the first echo to ult in the Death Realm, and then it all just spreads and continues, and something quantum physics somewhere, something.
That is really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know, because Tucson seems to be fine now, unless we're experimenting, unless we're waiting for a restart of the computer. It looks like now, though, Clid and Rascal are getting ready to get back into the game. Yeah, I'm seeing
finger and mouse movement.
Fingers on keyboards. I think we are out of sepia mode. That was probably the silliest pause conversation rant we have ever had.
What?
I think.
Or like, I'd be surprised if
either
NASA
the silliest
isn't in your DMs at the end of this.
It's either the silliest or
hold
the
on,
most
hold on.
intellectual.
Elon Musk is calling. Hold on. I think
you need to go and help invent his Mars rocket, something like that. Now, I want to build this rocket in the Death Realm. Or is it the Dream Realm? Can you explain it to me?
He wants to make a Tesla out of Mordekaiser's suit of armor. He's wondering if he can farm him.
Maybe he's going to harness his energy to make a new battery or something like that. We've lost it. We're done so. All right, Aiming and Tucson are in lane. Tucson seems like he can hear his partner. And that is great news as we battle to get to level 2. Come on, mate. Let's get back into it.
You're going to be in the same round to hear each other.
Oh, no. Oh, that's probably what it was. He was just, and that's why they brought the QSS over.
I get it. All right, let's get back into this now, though.
Yep. Yeah,
we've solved it.
Clid's gone for a level 2 gank on Aiming without his flash. I like it a lot. There it is. Exhaust immediately. Twitch exhaust there from Tucson. Liked it. Clid picked his moment, but didn't quite manage to get in there. Now I believe that ward is out of position as so on, trying to do some damage here to Rascal, but this is not a battle you end up winning, Mr. Aatrox.
That was also the most bizarre, impossible gank I've seen in a long time. That was Malrong-esque. You know,
I mean, it is a level 2 gank, and as soon as it's a level 2 gank, it is Malrong-esque.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something. And you know what? I think that Clid's just trying to let Malrong know not to try to sub in.
Yeah, don't turn up in my game. As there's a scat of the week, but BDD not able to make it work. Has to use his flash to get out of the way of Bono. So Bono demonstrating that this is how you make a gank work. Wait until level 3, then you have all of your buttons. Much easier to do. Does get that summon a spell.
This is really scary, though. That means Syndra will not have her flash when Ornn hits 6. And so that could potentially just be a pretty easy regank.
Yeah, also means that Kuro has a much easier time in the lane as well, because BDD is going to have to respect the Ornn a little bit more and respect the location of the Jarvan. Hook is getting a land down here as Tucson taking way too much damage, has to eat that grey health, but he's still so damn low. Ruler not wanting to flash or do anything like that just yet, but now BDD comes down, gets just the edge of that stun, and BDD, if it doesn't work the first time, come down and get a double kill the second, as he takes one and Ruler takes the other.
Yeah, and Tucson just really too far up with what he was trying to do, and so this is a very unfortunate turn of events that just ended up occurring.
Oh yeah.
Syndra getting 2 assists, Lee Sin picking up one of the kills for himself as well. So now we'll see how this all transitions. And I mean, you just gotta look at this and you have to ask yourself, what is Tucson and Aiming even trying to achieve with that Tongue Lash? Their jungler nowhere nearby. Ornn is never teleporting to this in a million years. Aatrox not even in a location to teleport to. He could just end up getting grabbed by Mordekaiser up there in top lane.
Also, BDD holding onto the turret aggro for as long as possible, allowing Clid to get a few extra autos and spells off onto Aiming and guarantee that extra kill. Fantastic to see here. from Gen.G. Certainly playing like a well-oiled machine in that particular instance. We'll just try and forget about that first gank from Clid. Still, you know, no harm, no foul. So on, looking for Rascal, but doesn't get the last hit of the queue. Now, this was a matchup that we said was slightly Aatrox favored. But I want to talk about, you know, something that you do love talking about, which is the different modes of each champion and things like that.
Yeah.
Is this Aatrox composition one that is going to be able to work out?
Well, in this particular dynamic, because Ornn and Aphelios are there, all he needs to really do is act as a meat shield for the Aphelios. And then once the gears are in motion, then he's able to flip a switch and try to go on to the enemy team. But he's obviously not going to fulfill his role as good as some other bruisers would be able to. But in the event that KT ever gets ahead, then it would end up being pretty good. And Clid and BDD are really roaming, and Kuro has level 6, not going to use it.
Yeah, that was actually a teleport towards the top side here for Kuro. Allowed KT to also grab themselves the Cloud Drake, given that Bono was towards the bottom side of the map. 3 men invested top side. Means that one was available. Next is going to be a Mountain, as we'll finally get a new Dragon Soul in this game. It was very cloudy up until this point. So it will be Ocean or Infernal Soul. Susan taking a fair bit of damage. I'm thinking about Ruler with a Infernal Soul on it. Sounds like a very scary prospect, but same can be said for what aiming would be able to do. I feel like Aphelios is a blessing and a curse for a player like aiming, because Aphelios, you get rewarded for playing overly aggressively with some of his guns. Crescendum and Infernum come to mind. Crescendum with its tiny range, certainly one of those. But aiming has a habit of playing overly aggressive at times where he shouldn't.
Yeah, and you know, in this game, all that he needs to do is actually go pretty much even in the early and mid game. Eventually, let the ornaments come in.
Yep.
For the entire team, just like we saw in the Dom1 versus T1 games. Then you see what can end up going on, or what can end up happening from there at that point in time. And Atlas, I have something exciting to tell you.
Okay.
This game will either be an Infernal or an Ocean.
I know, I said that before. And yeah, we don't have another Cloud Soul, which is just great in and to itself, because we get to see a different Analyst Desk segment.
Yeah.
Because the AR reflects the type of Drake that the team managed to lock down as far as the Soul. So that is some really cool tech that we have not utilized whatsoever. And we here at the LCK like to utilize stuff. So thankfully we're going to be able to here in this game. I don't know whether I like that skin. The Mordekaiser skin. It's got so many
It has
cool
a
ones
real...
now.
Well, no, that one's actually real. Have you ever seen the first-person view of the Death Realm?
Oh, is it really cool?
It's something. It's literally hell.
I've never used that skin, so I wouldn't know.
It's basically hell.
Damn, that's cool.
It is cool, yeah.
I take it all
You
back.
know, I can actually justify it. Now, if we want to, you know, make maybe a better skin, if we're Riot Games, then
yeah,
I would personally recommend a Prestige Edition.
All right.
Okay, slap $100.
I'd be keen. Let's just wait until after this team fight that might occur as Kuro comes in, throws out the Ornhorn. That's a triple knockup, but the bullet time's going to come into any follow-up. Now teleport to come forward from So-On. They definitely want to take Shelly here. She's down to about 1,000, and Gen.G can't find their way in. Now Rascal has been caught out of position, pulled back by the Infernal Chains, and smacked down in the Death Realm now, though. There's a lot of damage coming on to So-On, but he's not even able to win that particular fight. Rascal just going to go down. Shelly resets, but she's now going to be taken for free by KT that were able to turn that completely on its head.
It was definitely a very bizarre sequence of events there for the Mordekaiser. He walked up like he wanted to hard engage, but then nothing ended up happening.
Yeah, it wasn't a moment that Gen.G were able to actually find success. I think as soon as you see that Ornhorn, you run the hell out of dodge. Yeah. It wasn't what he decided to do.
Minute and a half now until the Mountain Dragon ends up coming up. Does look like Jarvan is going tank. And with the other resistances that champions on KT are going to be getting, especially Ornn, getting that Mountain Dragon should be actually pretty high priority for KT.
Well, 1 minute until that's available. As we have a look at this one more time, keep your eye on where Mordekaiser is, as well as it's a pretty good ultimate coming out of Kuro to start it up.
The really weird thing is that even if Kellen lands the hook, with everything that is going on, with Thorn basically coming in with a almost flank of sorts, nothing is really going to be able to be achieved, and then Rascal just walking straight into his death.
Yeah, not what you wanted. Still has Flash available, so I guess is going to be fine in the lane, and has kept up as far as CS is concerned. So Gen.G still retain a gold lead because all that time, Ruler was able to just sit on the bottom side and take plates from the bottom outer turret. So everything calming down once again. 15 seconds, that Mountain Drake will be on the Rift. You can see Bono already there in position to try and take it. There's a Lee Sin in the mid lane trying to put pressure onto Kuro, who does still have Flash. Everything available is absolutely fine. Let's see whether this bottom lane is what turns the tide on the availability of that next Drake for either team. Good stunt coming down onto Kuro there. Speedity holds onto the ultimate. It's cleared, now in trouble. Flash is going to come forward, but there's the second proc. And the ultimate to come down from aiming as well. That's going to secure it. And KT should transition very comfortably into a second Drake.
And so now they're going to pick this up. They're 2 dragons away now from Soul. And if you are KT, the Soul that you're ideally looking for here is Ocean. That way, it reduces all chance that you should, in theory, be able to lose.
Yeah.
Mostly because Mordekaiser sustained damage, Lee Sin sustained damage. Syndra is burst damage, but just get 1 resistance or something, and then she's not going to be able to do that to you anymore. And so Ocean is
my
definitely
personal
the dream.
favorite, Dragon Soul, because it makes the Rift so pretty. Look at all the flowers.
Are you a botanist?
I am when it comes to League of Legends.
Okay.
Absolutely. Certainly not a qualified botanist, just in general.
Do you do herbalism and alchemy and in WoW?
I do.
Okay.
On my secondary. Otherwise, I'm an engineer, staying true to my father and my roots. As there's the Moonlight Vigil, and there's aiming skill. On declared, pretty comfortable stuff here. Bono's going to eat himself some newly acquired honey fruit, thanks to the Ocean Rift. As, that's a hook. And he does go golden. The box is set, but KT are going to get their rotation over. Kuro breaks down one of the walls. He's otherwise just going to turn around. Kuro gets out scot-free. Gen.G retains some of their vision control in the enemy jungle, but otherwise that's all they're going to get.
So KT, even though they are currently behind in gold, they do have the better team composition. Warren already has the Abyssal Mass. VDD and Clid now, they're coming down. They know that they're on ward.
That's a Rift Herald in the middle of the lane. And Clid gonna get locked down. Moonlight Vigil comes out just to secure the kill there for aiming. The raining auto attacks from the sky are enough to do it. Ruler gonna have to get out of the way of Tucson here with threatening a tongue lash, but isn't actually going to be able to find the misfortune. And Clid just unfortunate positioning, great vision available from KT. And this is not the KT we saw at Kesper Cup. This is a KT that's looking like a well-oiled machine coming into the mid-game.
And I mean, one of the really key things about this game is, like I was mentioning, it's very akin to the T1 versus Dom1 game, where T1 were basically in Gen.G's position, where they're going to get outscaled, they're not accruing sizable enough advantages, and now the question becomes, can they outdance KT? And if the answer is no, well, yes, a lot of the variables are different, but we're going to have to judge and evaluate in what way can they not outdance them.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at this once again. Unfortunate that Clid was seen on vision and does skirt away from one, but as soon as the tongue lash landed, aiming with his Calibrum was able just to snipe him down all too easy. Feels a little bit like talking about Caitlyn when that gun is in employment.
Caitlyn's a sheriff.
Ah, she is. And Felios is
Not
something.
a sheriff.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how that works.
Is a vessel for someone so that he can do some stuff. He's got really complicated lore, actually.
Does he actually?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
haven't read his lore. You know the guy that does the power levels for champions? You know what I'm talking about? You ever read those threads? That guy's a badass.
Oh yeah, I do like those.
I love that. That guy's good. He's cool.
Well, Kuro is somehow leading in experience by quite a large margin. BDD actually almost behind an entire level to the Ornn, which is not a matchup that I'd be expecting him to have a level advantage in, but there we go. First tower is going to be taken here on the bottom side of the map, and it goes to KT. And we've got 1:30 until the next Drake. This is KT's squad that now have 2 dragons in the bank, a composition that will peak in the next 10 minutes, and the availability of having a Dragon Soul at the same time of an appropriate type. This is going about as well for KT's account.
Ooh. This is one of the really cool things. Aphelios just straightens up Mordekaiser really, really good. It's one of the AD carries that Mord can't just mindlessly death realm and then try to hope that he can kill.
Aiming gonna have to try and truck towards an Infinity Edge as quickly as possible to try and get his Ornn item. Kuro already with one in his back pocket.
I gotta really point out that all of these Korean Ornn players are definitely savants.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they're Abyssal
But
Mask,
this is what
right
all of our
into
Ornn players
Sunfire.
they've always done this. I don't even think, like, Ornn players have barely ever bought the Iceborne Gauntlet in Korea. My memory serves.
It's really good in the jungle because you already have Bombies.
Okay, yeah.
You already have Cinderhulk, so
you can't build.
Yeah, you lose the Immolate. Yeah, so kind of sucks. So in that regard, getting the Iceborne's okay in the jungle, but
what would be the other option? I guess you could get support items and things like that. Like
you
Locket,
can't. Well,
Redemption,
Riot actually forbids it. You can't stack items.
No, I know, but you could get Abyssal Mask and Locket instead of Abyssal Mask.
Yeah.
Let's just pause for one moment, as this is the Wombo combo that we wanted to see from KT. Cleared one auto away from death, but Calibrum not enough to do it, as now Rascal has put Bono in the death realm. Can he actually win the fight is the question, as Bono just waits and then gets a perfectly timed flag and drag to get him to safety. Bullet time has to be cancelled early. Rascal stays alive for a really long time and takes Callan's Lantern to get out to safety, and Tucson with the clutch devour gets aiming out of the way of the hook. KT walk away with 1 kill and should have inside track on this outer turret mid and the Ocean Drake as well.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to get this Ocean Dragon. They're going to be 1 dragon away, and now they are threatening a 23-minute Ocean Soul, which absolutely single-handedly will end the game.
Really dangerous for Gen.G. I think most people were expecting Gen.G to pretty comfortably win this series, to be honest. The KT really making them work for it, showing that this new composition, the new coaching staff for this squad is so far working out. Of course, Tucson and Harai and Acorn all working together in the previous year on Dragon X. But otherwise, you know, Soan and Bono both coming over from Hanwha. Kuro coming over from China. And let's have a look at this fight one more time, as these Moonlight Vigils coming out from this grabbed up gun out of aiming has been really nice to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the lockup into the Ornn ultimate, it was a little unfortunate they couldn't actually get Mordekaiser there. Atrox just not quite able to lock him down, but they're in such a commanding position right now. Kuro about to hit level 13. He just did it, so now he's going to be able to give the Black Cleaver over to the Atrox. And then after that, it's probably going to be the next item. I don't know if Jarvan is actually building Black Cleaver. I think that he is. He has a Kindle Gem.
It looks like it could be the case, as now BDD in trouble. The Ram comes forward and the Ram says die. Aiming is going to allow that to happen, and they'll follow it up with this outer turret on the top side of the map. KT seem to be getting the picks where they need them and then taking all the objectives. They have sacrificed bottom lane outer turret, but this is all KT so far in this mid game.
Yeah, and even now the thing at the top is that might be confusing to a lot of people. Why are they only 1.5k ahead despite getting all this tempo, all this advantage, etc.? And a lot of it just stems from, you look at the CS gaps in some of the areas. The Mordekaiser, I mean, he's essentially up 20. 80 carry.
Yeah, Ruler is up a lot of money because he took all of the plates as well. And they've taken the whole outer ring of turrets.
So that's where stuff is going, and BDD walking up way too far, and I really like how quick they were to punish BDD's misstep. So 2.5 minutes now until Ocean Soul. It doesn't actually look like Jarvan is getting anything. And also, Kuro is not walking towards Atrox to give him an ornament. Oh, I'm sorry. He already gave the Infinity Edge to Aiming.
We got a big old Molten Edge here for Aiming. His gun is well and truly souped up.
You would think that Ornn would, you know, maybe come up with...
Oh, that's the ult. That's going to not land onto the acquired target, but the Ramwell Ruler have to walk away. And that's another fantastic devour there from Tucson to get Aiming out of the way of that turret and the Death's Grasp. Now you can see why Tahm Kench was picked here. It's so that Aiming can play hyper-aggressive like he always does and not get uber-punished every time he steps forward. As bullet time just to clear out the minion wave shows some desperation here from a Gen.G that haven't found inroads this game. Gold gap already, still not quite there, given the equal turrets and extra CS. But KT do certainly have control of this map.
Bono just going to auto-attack this turret and end up raising that as well. Just under a 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they might actually get it over that mark as well, because you can see BDD is up towards the top side. Does have teleport. It looks like KT bearing down on this outer turret mid aren't going to be answered. Severum looking to tear through it. He chooses to chew through his Gravitum ammo instead. And they sacrifice 2 turrets in a row to Gen.G, identifying that they want to get to a different stage of this game in order to start some fights. Such a shame though, because that first dive on the bottom side of the map really got Gen.G to a great position. But since then, it's been all about KT maneuvering around this map just better than what Gen.G have been able to.
30 seconds now until the Ocean Drake is up. A really unfortunate Kuro actually doesn't have... Oh no, I'm sorry. He just got the Sunfire Cape.
Yep.
Right on time. Planned. Also has the heal from Spellbook.
I like to call it the Goose Down Sunfire Cape. That keeps you real warm. Real warm. Have you got a Goose Down coat for winter?
Nope. I just have my... I have the... I don't know if it exists. I don't know. You know the National Geographic brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that is... I don't know if that's a thing in the West.
It is a thing, but it's just not super in like it is
really?
over here.
Okay.
Like, everyone loves their National Geographic brand stuff. Well, I went to Costco the other day and they had National Geographic brand phone cases in like fancy displays. It was really weird.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
You know what I haven't seen in a long time? A TV.
Oh yeah? Why?
I don't know. That just randomly came into my mind.
Okay. Saw a few of them at Costco the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Achilles was trying to recommend me some new TVs, and I was like, I don't need a TV. As the Ocean Soul just picked up for free. Gen.G unable to actually do anything about it. This is going to make this game even more difficult. Solan inherently has a heck of a lot of lifesteal in his kit. Now World Ender is going to make him almost unkillable unless he's hard CC'd forever. And Aiming, you pair Severum with Ocean Soul, like, you're just never going to die.
Look at that Tahm Kench. Oh, he's well fed.
And look,
yeah,
so that he can get out of the multiple layers of Death Realm, Tucson has solved his pause issue by buying the QSS.
Gave to him, and now we have absolute confirmation. There's no hiding it anymore.
Yeah, beautiful. And now it's made sense to everyone. Our entire conversation about multiple layers of Death Realm. It really has.
Now, Tahm Kench can eat people out of things, but can he eat someone out of the Death Realm?
No, because he can't see them.
What if Mordekaiser raises his hand to sort of bring the person to the Death Realm?
Yeah.
And then just like at the end of that movie, Constantine...
Can you pop the Death Realm?
Tom eats the person out of Mordekaiser's hand.
Yeah, sort of like grabs them out of the hole that they're falling down.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, maybe.
And then puts them into his hole.
I'm actually not sure how that works. So, yeah, don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But maybe. I'd like to say maybe. You know, I'm a positive guy.
Well, I'm pretty positive that unlike the Dom1 T1 series where it was like sliver of hope, even though Dom1 were super far ahead and T1 managed to pull off Miracle in game 2 and 3, I don't think the same really exists.
Well, I mean,
for Gen.G.
I actually were pretty sure that things were over in that T1 series.
We were, but did T1 have an ocean?
Look at this damage received grab, by the way. Bono, the king of receiving damage this game. I think that Bono probably has the highest overall damage received per game in the LCK.
Do you think he's a masochist?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he plays Olaf, you know? Like,
all right.
What is Ragnarok?
Ooh.
Other than that, you know?
What about actually just Mundo?
Oh, he does have an ability called Masochist. Yeah.
Honestly.
It's so sad that the Mundo jungle era was before Bono's time in the LCK.
It is sad.
Oh, so on Mystic Cannon as well. That's also unfortunate. Gen.G is theoretically still scaling, still trying to find items, still trying to get further forward, and Ruler does have a 55 CS lead and very close to his third item. The highest win rate solo queue Misfortune build is in fact Essence Reaver Infinity Edge Bloodthirster.
Okay.
And that is where Ruler has gone this game as well, by the looks of things.
This is actually, this is the part of the game where stuff starts to get really sad. The extremely long posturing. So now, okay, we have a blue trinket. Are they actually going to commit to it? Are they going to turn off it and be like, no, 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 no. There's a 4.7268 repeating chance that we could lose the Baron here. We gotta.
Yeah, we really want aiming to be shooting the Baron, please. Gets out his Infernum, a lot of DPS available there. His fleet is going to turn up, Sonic Wave is going to wear off.
Okay.
Well, remember, Rascal can just move in and try and get Bono out of the fight, but there's the Ornhorn they're choosing to turn instead of this one as BDD. Not going to get taken, Rascal in the backline, but out of the Death Realm and into the Death Chamber by the looks of things. Aiming going to put the last bullet in that one. And KT should have the kill that they were looking for in order to secure this Baron. No more does Bono need to worry about being put into a Death Realm and not having access to a smite.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, you could also see the healing, how hard it is for members on Gen.G to actually do anything.
Well, Tucson does QSS to get out of the way of that hook. And the Baron is still taking damage. Remember, Clit is still alive. This is still theoretically a 50-50 if they don't play this one really well. Clit has Flash. He can get into this pit, but he's not able to do a double smite. He's going to lock it down thanks to the unsealed spellbook, and now Sohan flashing in to try and win the team fight afterwards as well. Ruler not going to be able to feel for himself whatsoever, but flashes out of the way. The heal is there as well as Bono doesn't have his ultimate, and Ruler's just kited them all out. The rest of his team is dead, but that part of it looked damn cool from the Gen.G AD carry, and now he's going to strut himself out of there, but still a well worth it team fight for KT.
Now KT with this Abyssal Voyage, not as clean as it could have been, but it's fine. Aphelios, like one of those like salespeople at like rest stops. They're like, do you want to put, you know? Like,
yep. That was actually really sad. He's playing his Demon Hunter from Diablo 3, strafing on top of them.
Okay,
so what happens? Severum does that.
I think
and first inhibitor going to go down.
They can end the game. They do not need to back off here.
Doesn't look like they're going to either as the All-Horn comes in once again. Oh god, they're both stunned up. Aiming with a glorious ultimate. Sohan dives in on top. That's a double kill for the Aatrox, but aiming's Aphelios has been the best that we've seen so far today by the looks. Nexus is going to suffer some defeat, and 29 minutes in very quick fashion. KT go against what our expectations were and take down Gen.G in game 1.
And this is a really, really big turnaround so far here in game number 1. They had a much better draft. You saw it, B1 Ornn. There's very few things that are potentially better than B1 Ornn, I'll tell you that much, Atlas.
B1 Ornn and B1 Gragas are what I've learned are pretty good.
Those are two of the best B1s.
Oh.
Okay.
You want to be LS's friend and you're a coach. Draft round 1 Ornn.
If you B1 set?
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you're a sinner like both of the teams in our first series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Impure.
You don't want to be that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No. But the Ornn worked out very, very well. I have to shout out Kuro just with how he played Bjorn in what can be a rough matchup. Bono comes in, gets exactly the gank that he needs to at the time that he needs to, so that Kuro can stay in that matchup, and they just continue to snowball it from there.
The amount of pressure that was on Clid, I mean, going for a one-camp gank bot lane that can never work in a million years.
It was a strange one.
Endless amount of forcing that he was trying to do with BDD, both top lane and bot lane, getting clapped for it.
Yeah.
Eventually at one point, and then they just got outscaled. I mean, it really just is like that. So draft is very important, which is really cool. We can't all be T1.
But what I love is that we have a look at this draft, and it's a draft where they had a Tahm Kench, which you hate. They have an Aatrox, which you hate. But the draft, if you design it around certain picks that can be a worry, then it can work out. And we saw this time around, in a game that is won at 29 minutes, hell yeah, you can do it with an Aatrox. You can do it with a Jarvan, with things like this. Oh, sorry, Aaron. I mean, yeah.
I mean, close
that
enough.
guy that went to O'Shea Kennedy's office and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that. And aiming did a hell of a lot of work. Like, he was down in farm, yes, but he was able to play out these team fights really, really well on the Aphelios and was landing the Moonlight Vigils that you need. It was really nicely played.
Well, we'll see if the Aphelios actually draws a ban in game number 2. And also, how is KT actually going to bounce back from this? Will we see a substitution or anything? Like I said,
yeah,
it was only...
I mean, Gen.G can put life in, but otherwise I don't think they have too many other options as far as substitutions. So we'll see whether it is going to be life making his way onto the Rift or whether it's going to be the same roster just trying it again in game 2. A lot of expectations on Gen.G's shoulders, and theoretically 2 games to try and earn them in this series. If you go into the distance, see you back after the break for game 2.
여기까지 하라면 여기까지 하면 더 아니야 해. 더 하자. 해. 하나만 지금 보고 봐봐. 신들한테. 야 지금 오케이. 지금. 나이스. 야 모대. 내가 갈게. 끝내자. 끝내봐. 나이스. 만판도 잘한다. 근데 이거 초반 아닌가? 원래 이런가? 잘했어. 살짝 흡살인가? 잘했어.